No bueno.
I just got the 911 call from Eric. Let's go see what he's torn up.
You know those days when you have stuff to do? It's kind of like as parents, say you have 2 young children, both of you have a job, have a lot to do that day, a lot planned. You got everything in order and you wake up and one of them throws up. It's kind of what we're doing here today.
What'd you tear up?
An auger, feedline auger. But it's not midnight. It's rare. But I do have my checklist. I have headlamp, Nipex, coffee. That's all you need to get through a day of chicken farming.
I think you need a little more than that.
Patience. We have showed you guys in the past how to fix one of these fill system augers. Now we have an auger broken in the house. You like how it's wee? I have a broken auger, but since Ben's here, it's weak because he's got to help. So we have a broken auger that takes the feed from the hopper that comes in from the bin, and then it feeds the chickens in the pans. And it's something that it's a part that I've been putting off replacing, and it just happened that on the day that we got a lot planned to do, it broke. So we fix it. And we'll show you guys kind of what we do, how we do. This is why we keep spare parts. More so keep spare parts like this for when it happens at midnight on a Saturday. Anyway, so it's Tuesday, 9:30 in the morning, which is rare. But we're going to jump in here, kind of show you guys what has happened and the process we take to fix it, which may not be the best way. It's the only way I know how. So another thing is when you pull up like this and you see the old tool wagon with the doors open, usually Ben turns around and leaves, but today for some reason he stayed.
Well, last night you did help me put a new feedline motor on. Just so happened that I had a feedline motor burn up. So I guess repaying the debt.
Welcome to my office. So this is where the hopper sits. The feed comes in, as you can see over there on the, I'm assuming you can see on the other side, see the hopper. So this is where the feed comes in from the outside bins, and when it does, then there are switches on each end, and this auger takes it and feeds the pans, which that's where the chickens eat. So what has happened, this bearing has gone out. That's why you see this auger pulled up in there. And show you guys, it usually rests in here. And that has actually pulled up in, and the bearing's worn out of there. So
This side right here is what it's supposed to look like.
and what we're actually going to do is, I have a bad spot in this feed line. These feed lines are 30 years old. So most of these have been replaced. I've had this on the to-do list to replace because I've got a bad spot in this line. But since this tore up, it's probably partially due to this. So I'm actually going to just replace this stick of pipe here as we do it. Most of the time what happens right here is, if you have we have strings that hold this hopper up with all the weight, and if that breaks, that puts awkward pressure right here because you got a pan, and over years of wear, that's what that is. So if I just replace that and don't replace this, it's just going to be another problem down the road. So we'll just take a little extra time while we're here.
Imagine if we take this tape off,
it's going
to be in 2 pieces.
Yeah. What we'll do to start with, after I have emptied this out, have all the feed out of it, we'll go to the other end and take the auger loose from the motor so that we can release pressure on this auger to pull it back this way to be able to rehook the new one. So we'll show you guys kind of how that process works, and then once we get everything fixed up here, the very last thing that we'll do will be go back to the end, pull the feed line out, reattach it to the motor. Should be good to go. So I'm going to guess this is going to take us about, if nothing goes wrong that shouldn't go wrong, from this point on we should fix it probably in maybe an hour, a little over an hour, somewhere in there, I'm guessing. But if something goes wrong that's not supposed to go wrong, it could take 3 hours. So here we go. Anybody that knows much about farming know this, that if you have chickens, chicken houses, or cows, if you ever need to go somewhere, either the cows will be out or a feed line's torn up. Something in the chicken house is torn up. It's miraculous how that works. Or sometimes as soon as you get where you're going, then the call comes and you haven't had a cow out in 3 months, and then there's 14 in the road. So that's kind of how farming works in the Southeast, I think. Especially when you have chicken houses and cows, something's gonna go wrong. It's a lot to get a lid open. First things first, make sure that the feed line's unplugged, just in case something happens. We do have the breaker off, but it never hurts to just double check. You never know. So what we're gonna do, this is how the auger is held to the motor. I'll take that apart. This will still have some tension on it, so you have to be careful not to let it grab your hand. Alright. We have made kind of a mess here trying to empty feed out. To get this undone, but we'll clean it up. Or Ben will.
That's what the chickens are for.
True. It's like the surgery has begun. She looks tired.
I'd say she's in too.
Is that N2 as in like INTWO or INTO?
In Alabama it's INTO, but I think everywhere else it's TWO.
I was just wondering. Atta boy. One of the hardest things about this is this thing has an Allen screw in it, and as you screw that in, it separates this metal. You see all the years of feed in there, and that's what makes this hold to this auger, is it expands in the middle, and you have to be able to get all this trash out, collapse it, or hold it with a pair of pliers and beat it with a hammer and see if it'll turn loose, either one. I usually choose option B.
Beat the crap out of it.
Yeah. to get you anything, Ben?
I am a little thirsty.
Oh boy.
Hit it like a man.
I like the way B works out usually. It's a little cringeworthy, but it works. So now if we were not replacing that stick of pipe, all we would have to do is put our end bearing back on. Put our end bearing back on. Pull it up tight, go back to the other end, pull the auger out and connect it. But since we have this issue, we got to tear this apart, take this stick out and replace it. It's a little added extra time, but here we go, whatever. I hope that tandem is not in pieces. You know what?
Yeah. I'll make the project go last a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it's got duct tape on it, so that's not good. In taking this feed line apart, this tandem is actually, that tandem right there is in bad shape. So we're just going to, pull the other side out as well, the rear, and just replace the whole tandem and both bearings as we're doing it. Something I usually like to do in between flocks, but and just be a lot of work to patch together to then be out of chickens and take it all apart and do it again. While they have plenty of feed and during the daytime, just go ahead and replace it all. But that 1 hour I was telling you about probably just turned into 2 hours. Alright, Sprite.
I'd say that's going to be well worth the added time.
I think so, my friend. I think so.
That thing sure is shiny compared to everything else in your chicken houses.
Very true.
Would that set you back?
This
Yeah.
is about $200, I think, for the tandem and new bearings on both sides. I believe that. Does that sound right?
Something like that. It's cheaper than I'd have thought.
So we showed you the old style that separates in there. You tighten it with a screw, separates it. The new style basically just has a U-bolt, and you twist it with the auger. Then when you get it all the way on, you tighten the bolts down. Like so, right?
Yep.
Okay, the back end we have not taken loose from the motor assembly at the end, so this line still has pressure on it. It's not bad, it just has some, so we'll pull it out, clamp it with the vice grips, and then put the bearing piece on it. So what we do is we keep a scrap piece of feedline auger. And you can see this is like how this same principle as it works with that fill system auger we showed you guys. You just coil it on itself, and then that gives you something to pull with. Just tell me when. You ready? All right, release the pressure there. And this is when you can get a finger or two. Ready?
Yep.
Oh, that's not bad.
Wow.
Now that is hunt luck right there. It's what we in the industry call hunt luck. He seems to have it all. Isn't that right?
Something like that.
Ready?
Pull.
How ready are you?
Ready, Freddy.
Nail it, Jeffrey. Like a glove, man. I mean, it could partially be. We should be running, my friend. How much do you think that would cost for a service call for someone to come fix that for you?
I'd say it'd be about $175.
Nah, it'd be $75 for them to drive up.
Yeah, but usually that covers an hour of work.
Like I said, I'd say it would be, I'm gonna say that would be a $400 labor charge.
Did y'all just hear him tell me to send him a bill? I think that's what I heard.
Well, hey, guess what? Mine last night was during overtime, so send me one.
If they watched our fill system auger video, what was the 2 a.m. rate?
See how things equal out? I mean, but no, seriously, we keep a lot of these parts on hand because of that. Not only to spare the expense of someone having to come out here, but I guarantee you I could call and ask a serviceman to come help us, and they'll say, yeah, we'll be there either late this afternoon or tomorrow. We don't have time to wait till tomorrow, because these chickens, we got to keep feed on them at all times. If your chickens don't have feed in front of them, the people that you sell against, your competition does, and you're already behind. So that's why you want to try to fix things as fast and efficiently as you can, because we're in a competition here. This isn't Sunday afternoon. Speaking of that, we probably need to get that feed going.
Yeah. Quit rambling.
Fire in the hole.
Usually these little problems here, when you find them, it had already happened a few hours ago, and so all the feed in your feed pans are pretty much gone, so the chickens don't have anything to eat, so you're really dependent on getting this thing back running so your chickens have feed. Surprisingly, on this one, it was found while there's still a bunch of feed in the feed pan, so really not out anything, just a little bit of time.
Start. Quite an eventful morning. We didn't exactly expect to do that. We want to bring you guys along because that's one of the, we never know what we're going to run into, and that was today's chore. So we'll go get those parts that we used, at the parts store, put them back on the shelf so that when it happens again, we're ready again. I think after today's chore, a fitting Bible verse for today is one of my favorites, 1 Thessalonians 4:11. And to make it your ambition to lead a quiet life, you should mind your own business and work with your hands, just as we told you. It goes a long way. On to the next one.
You're not going to be allowed in the house today.